Welcome to the regular City Council meeting, August 7th, 2017. This time we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance given by our Councilman Forrest. Fleming, if you'll please rise.
I'd ask y'all to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and please be seated.
I'm not sure if the Reverend McKim is in the audience. I do not see him. I'll ask our city attorney if Louis will please give an invocation.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you. Let us bow our heads. Great and gracious God, we have assembled here tonight to go about human business, business in this city, in this community. We ask for guidance and care, for wisdom, for those who are making decisions, for those who present before them tonight. We pause briefly in silence now so that each of us may make their own supplications for guidance for this body. And we ask your blessings upon all those present tonight. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen. I'd like to introduce City Council. To my far right, Forrest Fleming, City Council. Louis Vina, our City Attorney. I'm Ronnie Thompson, your Mayor. Sally Sandy, our City Manager. Sidney Simmons, Councilman. John Cantor, Mayor Pro Tem. And Kelly Russell, who is our Clerk. Is Becky Brinkley here? Yes. Okay, Becky Brinkley, Interpretation for the Deaf. Okay, we have some retiree resolutions. I'd like to read those resolutions. I'm not sure that they are present. Nancy Brewer, who's retired from the City of Morganton on July 1st, 2017, with 36 years and 4 months service. The resolution reads, whereas Nancy M. Brewer was employed by the City of Morganton as voter registration clerk in the Executive City Manager's Department on February the 2nd, 1981, reclassified as election clerk on March 30th, 1981, promoted to personnel clerk on December 30th, 1985, transferred to Secretary 1 on August 7th, 1989, transferred to Public Information Service on February 12th, 1992, transferred to Secretary 2 on September 20th, 1999, reclassified as Administrative Specialist in the Executive Department on July 1, 2004, and whereas Nancy M. Brewer has faithfully served the City of Morganton in the Executive City Manager's Department, has given of her time and efforts for the benefit of the citizens for 36 years and 4 months. And whereas Nancy M. Brewer retired from the City of Morganton as Administrative Specialist in the City Manager's Department on July 1st, 2017, and whereas the Morganton City Council wishes to officially recognize the contributions of Nancy M. Brewer and express their appreciation for a job well done, now therefore be it resolved by the City of Morganton that the Mayor present this resolution to Nancy M. Brewer, adopted this 7th day of August 2017. Ronnie Thompson, Mayor. Sally Sandy, City Clerk. I need a motion to accept that resolution.
So moved.
I have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Our second resolution is honoring Brian Key Smith. Whereas Brian Key Smith was employed by the City of Morganton as Animal Control Officer in the Public Safety Department on November 29, 1988, changed to Animal Shelter Attendant on June 9, 1997, reclassified as Animal Control Officer on July 1, 2004, and whereas Brian Key Smith has faithfully served the City of Morganton in the Public Safety Department and has given of his time and efforts for the benefit of the citizens of Morganton for 29 years and 3 months, and whereas Brian Key Smith retired from the City of Morganton as Animal Control Officer in the Public Safety Department on July 1st, 2017, and whereas the Morganton City Council wishes to officially recognize the contributions of Brian Key Smith and express their appreciation for a job well done, Now therefore be it resolved by the City of Morganton that the mayor present this resolution to Brian Keith Smith, adopted this 7th day of August 2017. Ronnie Thompson, Mayor, Sally Sandy, City Clerk. Do I have a motion to accept this resolution?
I move we accept the resolution.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion passes. We also have a service pin presentation, and the Personnel Committee and city staff have decided to recognize long-term employees for years of service at a city council meeting. These employees are usually recognized for 20, 25, or 30 years of service. And tonight we have a presentation to Jesse Peeler, who's a senior maintenance worker for Public Works Department for 20 years. Jesse, if you'll come forward, I'll ask Mayor Pro Tem John Cantor to present that service pin to you.
Thank you very much. Yes, sir. Most of you folks have seen Jesse downtown for many years, and I don't think I've ever seen anybody as enthusiastic about his job as I have seen Jesse. And he's quite an example for all of us, and I know Sharon and anybody connected with downtown appreciates Jesse. Thank you, Jesse. And Jesse wants to say something. Right there. Okay.
I've really had a good time and enjoyed it, and I'm going to work as long as I can.
Thank you, Jesse.
Thank you, Jesse, so much.
Thank you, Jesse.
Thank you, John. Under public advocacy, we have some upcoming events. At Comma, we have a back porch series which features Sarah Tucker on August 19th at 7 o'clock, and on the main stage, Benton Blunt, which will be August 26th at 7:30. The Farmers Market will be Saturdays behind the Old Depot and Wednesdays on North Green Street. The Tour of Art in downtown, August 24th from 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock. We have a Housing Summit, August the 20th from 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock at Foothills Education Center. And the Historic Morganton Festival, which is September the 8th and 9th. I'm going to call on Abby Gentry if she'll make a presentation concerning the Historic Morganton Festival. Seems like it rolls around quicker and quicker, Abby.
It does. This is my 4th festival, so seems to go by fast. But as you indicated, the Morganton Festival this year is on September 8th and 9th. That's a Friday and Saturday. This is our 36th year doing the festival. And new this year, I want to highlight that the entire event is going to kick off on Friday at noon. So we're going to be opening up all the vendors, all the food, fun, and fair will be starting at noon on Friday, September 8th. We have over 200 arts and craft vendors, as well as some delicious food vendors. And some of those include Knob Creek Creamery with homemade ice cream, Sunset Slush, and Mother Shuckers with roasted corn, and a whole lot more. This year, our featured country artists include the Swan Brothers on Friday evening and Brothers Osborne on Saturday evening. And all of these are free. You don't have to have a ticket to enter into the festival, and that's due to our sponsors. So thank you, sponsors. Another attraction this year, which is sure to be a favorite for all of the kids out there, is Peppa Pig. Peppa will be joining us on Saturday the 9th at 10:30 at the Chamber of Commerce. So if you have little ones, bring them to the festival, get their picture taken with Peppa, and hang out for a little while. Again, that's free. And then we also have something for all you fitness gurus and enthusiasts. On Saturday, September 9th, we have 3 events happening during the festival. At 8 a.m. at Catawba Meadows Park will be the Sunrise Run on the Greenway and Student Fitness Challenge. The Sunrise Run is a 5K and 10K, and you can register online. And then the Student Fitness Challenge is a competition for elementary and middle schoolers, which they can sign up once school starts with their PE teachers. Also on Saturday the 9th at 9 a.m. we will have yoga on the lawn, and that's on the courthouse lawn. Everyone's invited. That's also a free event and will be run through Breathe Yoga and Wellness. And then also again on the 9th 9 a.m., we have the Morganton Monster CrossFit competition, which is a sight to behold. That's some really serious work going on there, and that's run through the Morganton CrossFit group at Pfeiffer Wellness. So that's just a little bit about what's going to be going on at the Morganton Festival, again, September 8th and 9th, starting at noon. And if you want more information, just visit us online at morgantonfest.org, follow us on Facebook, or download the Morganton app for all the details and what's going on downtown.
Thank you, Abby.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sounds like a great experience. We have a presentation next from the North Carolina Office of the State Fire Marshal. I think Ms. Claudia Summers is going to come forward and make a presentation. Claudia, thank you for being with us. Anybody you'd like to call forward?
Yes, if you want me to go ahead and call them now, I can.
Okay.
This will be recognizing Public Safety Officer Jessica Bess, who was not able to be here tonight, Zachary Chiz, Lieutenant Gary Massey, who is also unable to be here tonight, and Lieutenant Brad Buchanan, if they want to come up. On July 11th at approximately 5 p.m., Morganton Department of Public Safety responded to a call of a child being locked in a vehicle in the shopping center of Rose's Discount Store. The temperatures that day was 90 degrees, which made for a potentially dangerous situation. Zachary Chiz, who was shopping at the O'Reilly Auto Parts next door to Rose's, saw the mother enter the store, distraught, stating that her key fob would not work with her car and her child was locked inside. He tried to buy a battery for the fob, tried to open the vehicle, help the mom out. That was unsuccessful, so he tried to break the window for the vehicle. During that time, soon after, the public safety officers showed up at the scene, and after trying an unlocking kit on the vehicle and was unable to open the vehicle, they too had to try to break the window and were successful. The child was taken out and was okay. Many say that this is not an act of heroism, that the officers were just doing their job. But the way we see it at our office is that many times people fail to act, especially bystanders, for fear of being retribution from trying to help. And sometimes with our officers being so spread thin with their job, they can't respond as quickly as they would like. But this particular day, the moons were aligned, and the officers were able to recognize a dangerous situation, and Mr. Chiz was able to help, and this child was able to be taken out of the vehicle before the temperatures got too hot. So we wanted to recognize them as an education moment and also as a recognition for their heroism and their actions that day. This is Mr. Chiz. Thank you, sir, so much.
Yes, ma'am.
And Lieutenant Buchanan. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for service.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much for the opportunity to be here tonight.
Claudia, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next, as part of public advocacy, I'm going to call our Recreation Director, Rob Winkler, forward, please. We've got a skate park update and some good news. Rob, thank you for being with us and giving us this update.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor, Council. The update on the skate park is it is progressing, and we're looking to get started somewhere around the second to third week in September. And here recently we received some great news from the Tony Hawk Foundation. For those of you here and at home that are not aware of Tony Hawk, he is arguably probably the best skater to ever skate. And he started a foundation, and I want to read this to you because it's a lot in line with what we have and what we've been doing here in the city. It says, after receiving thousands of emails from parents and children across America who did not have a safe, legal place to skate, and in some cases arrested for skating on public property, Tony Hawk decided to establish a foundation whose mission would be to serve the population. He wanted to help them develop quality places to practice the sport that gives them much-needed exercise and a sense of self-esteem. So in 2002, he established the Tony Hawk Foundation and financed the organization with a personal gift. The foundation favors projects that support strong community involvement, law enforcement, support local leaders, skaters themselves, and their families. which is essentially what we have been about and what we've been doing for this year-long process. We have a good group of local skaters and kids that's come together and really support this project. And I'm proud to be a part of this and the city to put this on for these kids. To date, the foundation has awarded $5.5 million to 572 public skate parks. And this year, we will be receiving a $15,000 grant from the Tony Hawk Foundation to support our park. And this amount will get us over the edge and allow us to be able to give a skate park to the citizens and to the children, and something that we can be proud of from years to come. And with that said, I can't go without recognizing Andy Smith, who's the risk management coordinator for the city of Morganton. Andy spearheaded this project with a grant. We worked with him some, but he took the lead on this, and I'm very, very proud of Andy, and I appreciate, I tried to get him to come tonight, but he had other schedules conflicts. So, but I'm very proud to work with Andy and very appreciative of this project.
Rob, the rumor is that we're trying to get Tony Hawk to come do some skating. Is that
That is a rumor. We definitely would. We're going to try to reach out and try to see if we can get him to come when we finish the project for opening day. So I would be very excited to have him here, but I'm more excited to have his money.
I understand.
That's for this project. But yes, that would be great to have somebody like that to come with our opening day project.
Great.
Definitely.
Thanks. Always good news.
All right. Thank you very much.
Next, I'd like to call on Greg Branch to give us some update. Where is Greg? There he is. On some marketing that's taking place within the city of Morganton.
Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here. Excited about what's going on with Compass. Made a lot of changes over the past year. And Chad, if you'll bring that logo up. We've been working with some marketing people. We're looking to introduce a new logo to Compass in the next couple weeks, intertwined with a marketing campaign, offering some new services through Compass, some greater, faster speeds. And if you'll look at this logo, it's got 3 words listed on it: service, speed, reliability. And that's one of the things. First of all, we want to focus on the service. Extreme service, and of course extreme speeds and extreme reliability. And so we're proud of Compass and what we're able to accomplish over the past year or so. Looking forward to improving even more. But just trying to be proactive in customer service, providing our citizens with the customer service that you're not going to get from the big guys that are trying to force us in the ground. So we've got the service here local. You're not going to speak to somebody overseas. You're not going to, you call somebody, you're not going to wait a couple of days to get your service restored. And we're really proud of that. So just wanted to give you an update on that. Marketing campaign, you'll be seeing it throughout town on billboards, radio, newspaper, and hopefully looking to improve that service here in the city of Morganton.
Thanks, Greg. And one item, a personal note, on August 21st, there is going to be at least a partial eclipse in Morganton. I would encourage people not to look at the eclipse. If you need to get glasses, I understand the library does have some glasses you can safely look at the eclipse. So just as a note, we don't want to lose any eyesight in the city of Morganton. Next on the agenda is consideration of changing our city council meeting in September because our regular meeting falls on Labor Day. I need a motion to change the city council date from September the 4th to September the 11th, 2017.
So move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. We have anything from Electric Cities and
Yes, I do have
Publications.
one thing. The election for the Electricity's Board of Directors will be coming up in November. And in the past, we have nominated Dan Brown the former electric utility director here at the city of Morganton. And Dan was elected to that board and has served very well. And the city will be nominating Dan again for a second term, and we'll be reaching out to the other 19 cities to ask them for their support in that.
Thank you, Sally. On our consent agenda, I believe we have 4 items. Sally, if you'll cover that, please.
We do. 4 items. Would ask you to consider those in a single motion unless there is something that someone would like removed and discussed separately. For those of you viewing at home, the 4 items include minutes from the June 5th regular meeting, from the special budget meeting that happened on June 19th, because we did not have a July meeting. The budget amendment for $28,500 to receive funds for water line extensions in subdivisions. A consideration of amending our license agreement for T-Mobile cell tower antennas on the Valdez Avenue tank. And then consideration of a master service agreement with Merrick & Company for some engineering work and some evaluation on our coagulation and flocculation sedimentation process. Can always count on Brad's group for some good words.
Would any council like any of those items removed from the consent agenda? I can't believe coagulation, flocculation, and sedimentation won't be removed. Okay. With that being said, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Do
So moved.
I have a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Not
Motion
removed
passes.
here, but removed at the plant every day.
We will remove it at the plant, that's correct. Okay, moving on to new business, please. Let's see. We need to have a public hearing to consider the approval of an alternative design for Morganton Lodging Associates, which involves a minimum percentage of primary and secondary facade materials. Now open the public hearing to consider this approval of an alternate design. Call on Philip Luckadoo to give us some insight and information, please.
Yes, sir. Chad, if you could put that up on the screen. So that is a picture of, or a rendering of what the hotel would look like. And as we stated, there are minimum percentages. There are actually 3 areas, and this rendering does a really good job of showing the 3 areas that that are being sought out for alternative design. And the first is the minimum percentages, and it requires that you have a minimum of 75% of your primary material, and which would be brick or some sort of stone or marble or granite. And then you have a maximum of 25% of a secondary material, which could be stucco or any type of hardy board or anything like that. And so what is being sought out is an alternative design to vary from the minimum and maximum percentages on the facade treatment. The second area that is being sought out is if you see the distance here, let's see if I can, the distance from the minimum distance or maximum distance rather from the sidewalk to the front of the building our ordinance states that you have to have 50% of that building adjacent to the sidewalk, and no more than 20% of that building can be more than 8 feet from the sidewalk. Well, as you see, this is none of the building touches the sidewalk. None of it is adjacent. What the Planning Commission looked at is that actually in this given location, because of a unique site circumstance, actually provides a great transition between the harder urban edge of downtown and what's adjacent to the north of a residential area. So it actually sets the building back and gives it a better feel than had it been up on the street. And the third area is in these little white lines here, or lintels. We require a minimum of a 3-inch relief from the face of the wall to the edge of the lintel. Because of the type of construction, that would cause there to have to be metal bracing underneath the lintel so that it would support the weight, which you would see from the street and detract from the aesthetic value of the building. So that is also being sought out for alternative design approval. And the Planning Commission actually held a special meeting on July the 20th to consider this request, and they voted, all members present voted unanimously 7-0 to recommend this alternative design to council.
Philip, how many rooms are going to be available?
I believe it is 84 or 85.
Okay. Council, have any questions for Philip? Remember, we are in the public hearing section of this meeting. Okay. Philip, anything else to add?
No, sir.
Okay. Give anyone who would like to speak concerning this particular issue.
Is there a proposed start date, assuming that we pass this ordinance?
I do not know the answer to that. I would imagine this is kind of a first hurdle, so that they have to get the design approved, and then it has to be from this point it has to be approved through the hotel group, and then once that is approved, then I think they can move forward with their architectural designs and all of that, and then they would have a more definitive start date.
I think this is a beginning of the process. This is one of the steps that has to happen in order to move the project forward to break ground.
Right.
So it's several months away.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak? Close the public hearing. Okay, council.
I move we adopt an ordinance, the effect of which reflects the decision of the City Council to approve the proposed alternative design as outlined in Section 2.27 of the City of Morganton zoning ordinance for construction of a hotel as recommended by the Planning and Zoning Commission.
I have a motion. To have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor of adopting of the ordinance, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. Okay. Next on our agenda is the consideration of a resolution to apply for a building reuse grant. Project Soaps. Sally, will you take that, please?
Yes, we are considering a local business expansion and looking to a state grant project, and Alan Wood is here tonight from BDI to talk a little bit about this.
Alan, if you'll come forward. Welcome.
Thank you, Council, Mayor, Manager, Mr. Attorney. This is an expanding industry in Morganton. They are planning on adding 20 jobs. It would be a $250,000 grant request. The submission date for the application is September 7th, with the date of approval, if so, on October the 17th. Construction will probably start late this fall if everything is approved and moved forward. So we hope that you would consider supporting this with a resolution that you would have with a 5% match towards this grant.
And that 5% match would be shared with the county.
And I will be on the county's agenda in September. I'm asking at that time for their support on this.
What's the wish of the council?
I move to approve a resolution to apply for a building reuse grant for Project Soap.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alan. Next on the agenda is consideration of a revised project budget ordinance for 2017 for the Community Development Block Grant Program, or CDBG. Sally?
Yes, you all are aware that each year we receive entitlement funding from the Department of Housing and Urban Development. And earlier this year, we were given an estimate for what to budget for, which was $150,745. Once the federal budget actually passed, we did not get the $150. We received $146,539. So we are just amending that ordinance so that the dollars we receive match the budget that we adopted. I will tell you that the difference was made in the public infrastructure improvements line item.
Okay. What's the wish of the council?
Motion to approve the revised 2017 project budget ordinance.
Have a motion. To have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. Next on the agenda is a consideration of a contract with Western Piedmont Council of Governments to administer a building reuse grant and associated budget amendments for Kellex seating. There'll actually be two motions. Sally, do you want to cover that, please?
Sure. In the past, we have had a resolution, you have authorized us to apply for a building reuse grant for Kellex Seating, which is expanding in Morganton over on Hogan Street. No, not Hogan. Yeah, it is
Yeah,
Hogan Street,
Hogan.
410 Hogan. And now that we have received that and that has been approved, we have to adopt the budget and we adopt the contract for the administration of the grant with the COG. We originally applied for $500,000, but we were approved for $400,000 in the grant. The administration fee of that is $20,000. That too shared by Burke County and Morganton. So you are doing two things. You're setting up the budget and also approving the contract to allow the COG to administer that grant for us.
Okay, Council, what's your desire?
I move we approve the contract with Western Piedmont Council of Governments to administer the Kellex Seating Building Reuse Grant.
That's a motion. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion to approve that contract, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. We have another motion that we need.
Move to approve the budget amendment for $420,000 and a budget amendment to receive half the administrative costs from Burke County.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion about the administrative costs? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next on our agenda is a resolution authorizing a grant application from the North Carolina Appalachian Regional Commission. Sally?
Sure. I hope everybody sees that we are active in pursuing grants and trying to bring dollars in to make business and other opportunities happen. This is another grant opportunity that we are asking for your authority to apply for. This would be a $277,540 grant. That is half of the project cost. The project cost is $555,081. It is to improve water, sewer, sidewalks, and lighting in the North Green Street area, and that is to support development there. About to see some revitalization in that area. As we've gone through the downtown master plan process thus far, they're also showing some housing development opportunities there. We announced earlier we're having the Housing Summit on August the 30th, and that will be at the Foothills Center from 10 to 2. We have a housing shortage. We need more housing in downtown. We need more housing throughout the city and in Burke County. And this is going to be one of the infrastructure improvements that will allow us to do that. We would like permission to apply for that. It's a 50-50 grant, so we would be matching this with some utility monies and some sidewalk monies.
Sally, this will be for water, sewer, sidewalk, and lighting on North Green, correct?
Correct.
I need a motion, please.
Motion to authorize staff to apply for a $277,540 grant from the North Carolina Appalachian Region Commission Construction Grant Program.
Motion to have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. Next on our agenda is consideration for the award of a contract for the purchase and installation of a new digital network control system, which is the DNCS, and approval of installment financing. Sally?
Yes, you heard from Greg Branch earlier, who is our director of IT at the city and Compass, about the good things that are going on there and the changes that are being made. This piece of equipment is vitally important. It is what controls all of our video services. It is what controls all the set-top boxes in the homes and sends out the signal, and without it, we can't serve TV and people can't watch it. So we are asking to replace it. It is at the end of its useful life. It's actually probably just a tad bit past the end of its useful life, to be quite honest. The cost is $165,000, And in this year's budget process, we had planned to finance this. And so we have a 59-month financing proposal. We sought bids, received 2 proposals. First Citizens Bank was the lowest responsible bidder at 2.42% for a term of 59 months.
Okay.
I move to approve a purchasing and installation of a new digital network control system at a cost of $165,000.
Have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any discussion? This is the purchase and the installation part of it. Hearing no discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes.
Move to award an installation purchase financing contract for $165,000 to First Citizens Bank at an interest rate of 2.42% for a term of 5 years.
Second.
This will allow us to actually get the money to buy it. So, any further discussion?
And I know it says 5 years, it's actually 59 months, which is pretty close to 5 years. But 59 months is very important for state law.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor of the awarding the installation purchase financing contract for a term of 59 months, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, next, consideration to enter into a 5-year agreement with Spectrum for 5 gigabytes connectivity with DDoS mitigation to the city head-end. Sally, I'll let you take the head-end part, please.
How's that for terminology? We like a lot of initials here. This is another contract that we're asking you to consider for the operations for Compass. We have a contract currently that we receive our connectivity with a provider, and that contract is expiring in February. And it takes about 120 to 160 days to switch providers. And there's also a notice requirement in our contract for changing providers. So being responsible, Greg went out and sought prices in a competitive process. We sent this out to 4 providers who can provide this service. We received 3 proposals back, and Spectrum was the lowest responsible bidder. And we would ask that you allow this contract. I will tell you that the 5 years is really what is required in order to get the contract, and that we will be saving a little over $5,000 a month with this new price when we are able to switch this contract. This is a part of the business, and I'm talking about things that I don't really understand everything about, I can admit. But as Greg has schooled me, it is a part of the business that has changed a lot in the last several years and become very competitive. Years ago, when we first started doing this, it wasn't as competitive, and the price keeps coming down, and that's a good thing for us.
What's the wish of the council?
I move to approve a contract with Spectrum for 5 gigabytes connectivity with DDoS mitigation to the city head-end at the cost of $5,250 per month.
Have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. Next is consideration of modification of existing a no parking ordinance for South College Street. And I'm going to ask Philip Luckadoo.
And actually, I think Louis.
Louis is going to do this one. Louis, if you'll explain the no parking ordinance, please.
Yes, this is, I think we're all familiar with the license tag agency on South College Street. And here's the map you can see. If you can picture the railroad bridge is at the left edge, and you can see where Oak Grove Street turns off of College and goes down to Wall Lumber. There is currently a no parking zone on the north side of South College Street, but the way it is phrased in our ordinance, it doesn't begin until you're past the building where the tag agency is. The problem is, as anybody who's been there knows, is people park along the street on College, and that creates difficulty for anybody coming out of Oak Grove because you can't see around the corner onto College. It also creates a problem because of people coming in and out of the parking lot at the tag agency. They can't see to the right. So the Public Safety, and particularly our engineering department, recommended extending the no parking zone in the manner that's shown on the map there by the red line, all the way up to the intersection of Oak Grove and College.
Okay, what's the pleasure of the council?
I move to replace paragraph 81 of section 101, no parking, of appendix 1 of the Code of Ordinances with a new paragraph to read: the north side of South College Street, beginning at the point where the center line of Oak Grove Street intersects the margin of South College Street, and from that point extending southeasterly with South College Street for 320 feet.
Thank you, John. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Chad, if you can put the map back up, please. I have one question. Louis, while he's doing the map, if you'll look at the council, if you look at the red line that was discussed a minute ago, that's the north side of College Street.
Correct.
Can they still park on the south side of College Street? Is that going to be allowed?
The current ordinance only had the no parking on the north side. I was not asked to do anything about the south side.
Just checking. I mean, they take their chances running across the street to the tag office, so that may eliminate a few pedestrians there. But I just want to make sure people are not parking illegally on the south side of
There's no
College Street.
parking on the other side already.
I think
I'm not
Some people
sure.
who do park there.
Yes, you're right.
people park there, but I'm not sure that it's a
honestly-
parking area.
Oh, I didn't say it was
Is
a
it-
parking area. I just said they're parking there. You know, in Morganton, sometimes,
Well, you make your own.
yeah, you
It's
make your
a-
own.
It would, yeah, I can concede that could be a pedestrian problem. I don't think it would be as much of a traffic problem because the two
The site.
streets coming in are both on the north side, or the parking lot and the street are on the north side.
Okay, any further discussion? We have a motion and a second. All in favor of the modification of the no parking ordinance, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. Okay, next on the agenda is the consideration of the award of a contract to resurface city streets for 2017. Sally?
We have received bids to do some resurfacing. The dollars that we have available for that this year are $213,910. And that is based on unit prices for asphalt and the quotes that we have gotten. Received 3 bids from contractors. May Mead of Mountain City, Tennessee, was the lowest responsible bidder at that price. The streets to be resurfaced this year are Brick Street, Bethel Street, and then completion of the rest of Stonebridge, the widening and the paving of that project.
What's the wish of the council?
I move to approve a contract with May Mead Incorporation of Mountain City, Tennessee, in the amount of $213,910.90 for the resurfacing of city streets. And I'd add to that, Mr. Mayor, that District 2, my district's getting the most of this, so I definitely wanted to make this motion.
Okay, have a motion to have a second.
Second.
Thought we were going to die for lack of a second there, Forrest, for a second. Okay.
Look out here now.
Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The motion passes. And last, as far as business, is going to be consideration of an ordinance to authorize the sale of alcohol beginning at 10 a.m. on Sundays. I'll ask City Attorney to take that, please.
As you may have heard, the legislature passed and the governor signed a bill that would, that the local option of each local government allow the communities that have laws, ordinances permitting the sale of alcoholic beverages to begin those sales as early as 10 a.m. on Sundays instead of 12 noon. And this, to be clear, covers on-premises and off-premises beer and wine sales and liquor by the drink. So all kinds of alcohol sales would be allowed to begin at noon at 10 a.m. if City Council so approves.
Okay, what's the pleasure of council?
I move we adopt a new section 6-1081 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Morganton to allow and authorize the sale of malt beverages, fortified wine, unfortified wine, and mixed beverage at any establishment in the city properly licensed to sell such by the state of North Carolina.
I've got a motion. Do I have a second? I'll make the second. Any discussion?
I'd like to make some comments. If I
Okay.
could.
This time for discussion. Go ahead, Councilman.
Okay. I know that we're being presented this with the notion that this is for economic development. I don't know how much economic development that we could consider that adding 2 hours on Sunday morning to the time that you would be able to buy beer and wine. I don't know how much economic development that would be in that. But I do know that originally when the legislature chose to pass this bill to sell beer and wine on Sundays, that they set the time to begin that at 12 o'clock noon. Now, that just wasn't an arbitrary time that they set it. They set it at 12 o'clock noon for a specific purpose, and that purpose was that by 12 o'clock noon, most church services in the state of North Carolina would generally be over. In the city of Morganton, as in the whole county of Burke County, normally church services begin around 9, 10, and last up till 12 o'clock noon. I, quite frankly, am not in favor of alcoholic beverages being sold on Sunday at all. Another point is that anybody in the city can buy alcoholic beverages 6 days a week, and the only time that you can't buy beer and wine is from 12 p.m. on Saturday until 12 o'clock noon on Sunday. All the other time during the course of the week, a person has the opportunity to buy any alcoholic beverages that they'd like to. And the article in the paper talked about if folks got up on Sunday morning and they decided to go to the lake, then they'd have additional 2 hours that they could buy alcoholic beverages beginning at 10 o'clock. I don't know whether that's legitimate to say that when they got 6 days a week and other times to do that. So they're apparently not doing a whole lot of planning. If they got enough time to plan they're going to get up on Sunday morning, go to the lake, then they probably got enough time they could run down to the local store and make their purchases. Another point I'd like to make is commandment number 4 says to remember the Sabbath day and to keep it holy. So I don't know that like I said, I wouldn't be in favor of selling alcoholic beverages at all on Sunday, but that's out of my control. That's already been decided. I would just ask everybody, is there nothing sacred left anymore? I mean, we're going to back this up to 10 o'clock, which is a normal time that church services would be conducted. I would be in favor of leaving it where it is. And I guess, Mr. Mayor, I've made my comments.
Thank you, Councilman. Anybody else like to add anything?
I got a comment I'd like to make. seeing how this is going to affect our whole city, and we've got an election coming up on November the 7th, is it not appropriate to present this to the voting public for their opinion on it?
I'll ask legal counsel to.
The statute, or the bill that was adopted by the legislature expressly authorizes each local jurisdiction's governing body to make this decision. And that is different from the usual procedure in our alcohol laws, as you know, as we've had to have referenda here. But no, there is no requirement for a referenda, and as a result, something like 40-some, maybe more now, jurisdictions, mostly towns, I think there have been a few counties around the state, have already passed their ordinances. Lenore did just last week. I know Valdez is considering it tonight as well. I have not heard of any place calling for a referendum, and unless someone has done it in the last few days, I don't think any jurisdiction has turned down the ordinance. Some of them, of course, haven't considered it or aren't considering it.
You could not call a referendum now for the November
No.
election, I don't
No,
think. I think
it's
you're
too
past
late.
the time
It's
that
too
you
late to
could
do that anyway.
Any further discussion? Okay, we have a motion and a second to adopt new section 6-1081 of the Code of Ordinances. All in favor of approving the adoption, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Let the record show the vote was 3-1, and it passes. Okay, we have one appointment to make to the Alcohol Beverage Control Board, which is very appropriate. So, I need a motion.
Motion to reappoint Steve Gregory to the Alcohol Beverage Control Board for a term to expire August 5th, 2019.
Second.
Excuse me, there's an error on here somewhere.
Oh, yes.
Should be
It's 2020.
2020, isn't it?
Actually, what it is, up in the top, sorry.
So-
Yeah.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. I have one other item. I think Ed Phillips is still here. Ed, see that we've got on a national magazine called The Beer Advocate, which is, we're ending up on alcohol at this meeting, I can tell. Todd, the brewer and co-founder of Fonta Flora, is featured under The Beer Advocate, so that's just great national press for the city of Morganton, and a great place to go and indulge at whatever time you need to go at Fonta Flora. So Ed, thank you so much for bringing that to us. Anything else to come before City Council? If not, we stand adjourned.
Sally?